So I have been on this path to finding my soul's purpose and showing up in the world as my most authentic self, living a life where I'm as fully expressed as possible. And in order to do that, it's not just about, showing up and being happy and bright and optimistic all the time. And I actually had somebody comment on a post that I made. Like, I was saying, like, "Ooh, I was really grumpy that day," and they're like, "I just can't imagine you being grumpy. Like, you seem so happy all the time." And it just made me think, like, am I still masking in a way? Am I still showing up in a way that is not fully myself? And it's true. I have this thing where I'm like, I don't feel like showing up, so I don't, because I don't want to bring that energy. But then that gives this illusion that I always have stuff together. And that's definitely not the case. But I was just thinking about, reconnecting with my inner child. I've done a lot of inner child work. I've done a lot of shadow work on my own with coaches and containers, through healing, through the quantum, meditations, all sorts of different things. And, I was thinking about her again, specifically like the 7-year-old version of myself, that the one that knew who she was, knew what she wanted to do, knew what made her happy. And in a way, I want to reconnect with her because I want to be more like her. But another thing is that there's a side of me that I probably haven't been, not, how do I say it? There's a part of me that still needs healing and still needs these moments where I need to shed light on some of these darker things in my life. So I'm gonna just be vulnerable and say some stuff out loud. So I don't know why this came up for me today, but I used to tell, I used to say, "Oh, I didn't even have like a traumatic, childhood, so my story doesn't matter, and like, what do I have to say that's going to be worth anything to anybody?" I had this, like, I was really downplaying the stuff that I've went through. But if I think about it, think back to 7-year-old version of me, and just like, content warning, um, I'm going to talk about things that I'm not going to say too much. I'm just going to say that that version of me, 7-year-old version of me, had already been through not one, but two instances of being SA'd. And I think that is something I have downplayed and not, because it still hurts. And I know that when traumatic things happen to you, it's not because you deserved it, but you are still responsible to heal from this thing, you know? And so from those moments, I can see how some of these other things happened later on in my life, a pattern repeating, and lessons that I needed to learn around being autonomous for, um, you know, being able to voice my opinion, to say no to things, to create these boundaries. I feel like that's something that's coming up for me too. Also with, like, oh my god, all of the stuff that's coming up, all of the files, that's been super triggering for me, but it was like this feeling of like, gosh, of course, I can't help but look back at like all these different versions of me, even like the teenage version of me that, felt like she had to dress a certain way to be accepted, and this and that. And like, just see so many patterns of where all I've wanted was to connect with people, and be seen and heard and loved, and how I've been like, how there have been moments where I've been taken advantage of, and you know, I don't want that to stop me from continuing to try and reach people. I think that's kind of where I'm going with all of this is, I feel like I'm like, okay, I'm going to express myself authentically. I'm going to show up on YouTube and share these videos and just say whatever from the heart. And then I do it. And then I have the like contraction of like, oh no, now I'm scared again to be seen. Cause what if they don't like me? What if this and that? And so on. And so, I feel like it's deep down tied to those events that happened to me, of course, when I was young, and how some of those things repeated again in my life in other ways. So, yeah, I don't know. And I'm finding that for me to process these things, I have to say them out loud, even if they're uncomfortable. But by doing so, I hope that I am able to help somebody else feel a little less alone, a little less othered, a little less different, a little less crazy, and that their experience matters, even if they've never said it out loud, even if they were told, whatever kind of thing that happened to them to let them believe that their voice didn't matter and their story didn't matter and this and that. And, I just want to give that little version of me a big hug. And, in a lot of ways, I keep trying to show up as this like better version of myself, one that if she saw me, she would be stoked, she'd be so excited to meet this version of me. She'd be so happy to know that there is someone that looks like her, that is really cool and makes really amazing art and is so talented and cooks this yummy food and roller skates and has fun and lives this joyful life, to let her know that she's worthy. So I think it's starting to rain. I'm gonna have to go, but well, that's my video for today.